At the birthday party, if you got a call while playing a game, you had to put it on speakerphone. A call from an unknown number came in for Marcus. A sophisticated female voice answered, "Free tonight?" One of Marcus's overly drunk friends blurted out without thinking, "Didn't Marcus get her sister pregnant? So was playing both sisters all along." Someone quickly covered his mouth, but I heard every word clearly. Marcus calmly hung up the phone. "Wrong number." He looked at me, half joking. "We've always wanted a child-free lifestyle. If I really had a kid outside, Grace would beat me black and blue." I gave a cold smile. "I'd kill you." Marcus fell silent for a second. "I'm kidding. Can't you tell?" I picked up a paring knife and stabbed it into the space between his fingers, my voice chilling. "I'm not kidding." The splatter of blood from the blade made everyone at the table freeze. Chloe, who was sitting next to him, shrieked and grabbed Marcus's hand to tend to the wound, tears streaming down her face. Feeling my mocking gaze, Marcus pulled his hand back. He instinctively shifted his body, shielding Chloe from my icy stare. "Grace, it's rare to get everyone together for your birthday. What is this? I'm hurt. And you're not even concerned? Isn't someone already concerned for you?" Marcus suddenly lost his patience and swept my birthday cake onto the floor. "You went crazy and stabbed me." Chloe was sitting close, and out of common decency, she showed concern and helped with my wound. "Is there a problem with that? You just have to make a scene, don't you? Are you happy now?" Marcus usually remained unnervingly composed, even in the direst situations. I was just casually testing him, yet he reacted so unusually. Isn't this typical anger born of guilt? Although, at the end of a birthday party, the birthday person inevitably gets smeared with cake. But at that moment, the sticky sensation on my instep disgusted me. Chloe saw me covered in a mess, and couldn't hide the smile playing on her lips. She wiped away her tears and urged our friends to come play with the cake, as if everything that had just happened was merely an insignificant interlude. Chloe was the first to smash the cream from the floor onto my face. "Grace, my caring for Marcus is just a nurse's instinct. Besides, I've been taking care of his injuries since we were kids. I even nursed him when he bruised himself down there. You're not going to be petty and get jealous of me, a nurse, are you?" She provocatively hooked her arm around Marcus's neck, saying intimately, "Marcus, say something." Marcus gave an indulgent smile and dabbed some cake on her nose. "What are you talking about? Can't you see my wife, Grace, is about to get jealous again, but wasn't pleased? Oh, come on. We've called each other husband and wife in private for over a decade. Grace is always generous. She's not the petty person you're making her out to be. Plus, everyone in the department knows I have a partner, which is why I'm not worked like a dog with shifts. Grace, as fellow hustlers, you should understand my reluctance to be an unwitting scapegoat, right?" Marcus glanced at me and answered for me, "All right. It's just a name. Whatever makes you happy." The two of them subtly avoided the topic of the phone call and completely disregarded the severity of my earlier actions with the knife. I smiled as I wiped the knife clean, my gaze deliberately falling on Marcus's crotch. Ethan, the big-mouthed friend, had sobered up a bit and, with a fawning grin, tried to take the knife from my hand. "Grace, I just had too much to drink and mistook someone for someone else. If you're still angry, just stab me to vent your frustration." I smiled and shook my head. "Why would I be angry at you?" I should thank him for spilling the truth after a few drinks, which made me realize something was off with Marcus and Chloe. Seeing that I wasn't causing a scene, everyone immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Chloe, even more smugly, began to recount old stories. "Grace, Marcus is actually the most petty one. Just because I'd touched his entire body, he forced me to call him Marcus before she could finish gloating." I lashed out. "Ah!" I sliced a long gash into Chloe's arm with the knife. The sudden turn of events stunned everyone. Only, with incredible speed, stopped the bleeding, blew on the wound, and tried to soothe her. This was completely unlike the Marcus I knew, the one who fainted at the sight of blood, after he had handled everything. He looked at me coldly. "Grace, you've really outdone yourself. Chloe was bringing up old memories to give you an out, and you twisted it into deliberately assaulting her. What's wrong with you? Apologize to Chloe." I shook my head, refusing. Chloe gasped and tugged at Marcus. "Oh, Marcus, what are you doing? Grace is the birthday girl today. She's a little temperamental and just wants to mess with me. I can just take it, can't I? Anyway, I'm tough. I'll be fine in a couple of days." These words made Marcus's gaze turn even colder towards me. "Apologize. Don't make me get physical." My cell phone rang, and I couldn't be bothered to give him another look. Answering it directly. Room 308. Just send it in. Marcus. Ignored. Was thoroughly enraged. He grabbed my arm and forcibly dragged me in front of Chloe. Apologize and then get home. Don't cause a scene here. A knock sounded at the door. Excuse me. MS. Grace's delivery. I forcefully broke free from Marcus, took the package, and handed it to him. I bought the most expensive ones. 10 in total. If all 10 are negative, we'll drop this. Marcus instantly understood what I had bought, and his face surged with fury. He hurled the entire bag of pregnancy tests at me, roaring, Grace, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you deliberately targeting Chloe? It was just a game, and someone dialed the wrong number. You're taking it this seriously? Am I really so unworthy of your trust? Trust? I have an excellent memory for voices. That sophisticated female voice belonged to Sage, Chloe's sister. The tension in the private room was palpable. He insisted I apologize. I insisted Chloe take the test. Ethan slapped his own mouth hard and pleaded with me, Grace, today's mess is all my big mouth's fault. I'll apologize for you. Please don't make things difficult for Marcus and Chloe. All right? I was unmoved. I grabbed Chloe's arm and headed towards the restroom inside. Marcus blocked my way. Do you have to humiliate her like this? Even if she were pregnant. It's none of your business. What right do you have to force someone to take a test? None of your business. He says. The more he tried to stop me, the more convinced I became that something was going on between him and Chloe. I pressed the dagger against Chloe's lower abdomen and said calmly, you don't have to take it. I can just get rid of the baby myself. Or you can castrate yourself. It's one of 3 choices. Anyway, we agreed before marriage to live a child-free lifestyle forever. Marcus's eyes turned bloodshot, stunned by my overly calm gaze. He caved. Chloe's eyes immediately welled up, and, on the verge of tears, she swore to me, Grace, I'm really not pregnant. I just brought up those old stories to lighten the mood. Regardless of her fervent oaths, I ignored them all. Her pleading, resentful gaze turned to Marcus, but facing my cold, gleaming dagger. Marcus finally backed down. Take the test. Once the results are out, we'll stand by you. His resolute words, paired with his look of helplessness and disappointment, truly made it seem as if I were the one losing my mind. When the 5th pregnancy test also came back negative, I began to doubt myself. Had I really guessed wrong? Chloe wasn't pregnant? That's right. If she were truly pregnant, she wouldn't provoke me so relentlessly. But what Ethan had said with a slurred tongue didn't sound false. The result of the 10th one was also out. I was too nervous to look. Grace, you're closing your eyes and don't dare look. You're not trying to back out, are you? Chloe's teasing voice forced me to look at the pregnancy test. All negative. I opened my mouth, a bitter taste filling it, and looked at my disheveled self in the mirror, feeling an indescribable mix of happiness and disappointment, proving it was all a joke. Everyone turned to look at me. Before I could speak, Chloe was the first to say, all right, everyone, don't look at Grace like that. She knows she was wrong, and I don't need her apology. Today's incident was all my fault for taking the joke too far. She waved for a waiter to clean up the mess in the private room and ordered a case of good wine to continue the game. Marcus suddenly grabbed a bottle of liquor and slammed it hard onto my arm. Chloe, not blaming you doesn't mean you can truly do whatever you want. This hit is your lesson. If you can't handle it, then go home. Don't make a spectacle of yourself here. I bit my lip hard, watching blood drip from my fingertips, feeling as if my heart were bleeding. It wasn't that I couldn't handle it. I just didn't want to be the fool in love. I glanced at the glass in front of Chloe and suddenly understood why the test wasn't showing 2 lines. Since wanted to play this game, I wouldn't hold back. I picked up my bag and decisively left for the hospital. The wound required 8 stitches, but I didn't even flinch compared to this superficial pain. The gaping wound brutally torn open in my heart chilled me to the bone. After my wound was treated, my screen lit up. There were no missed calls or messages from Marcus. Instead, their small group chat was buzzing with new messages constantly popping up. They were all photos and videos of Ethan and the others continuing to drink and fool around. In the photos, Chloe was holding her bandaged arm, smiling radiantly, while Marcus chuckled as he wiped cream from her cheek. The tenderness in his eyes was undisguised. Thanks to my absence, the group chat messages kept coming, including a 60-second voice note. Chloe, what's going on with your sister and Marcus? Don't tell me you're pregnant and can't tend to Marcus. So your sister, Marcus suddenly spoke up. What nonsense are you spouting? Her sister. that ice queen, has been at odds with me since childhood, and has always been single all these years. How could she be pregnant? Everyone started to cheer, and the atmosphere grew lively. Ooh, 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 your shrew isn't around. Yet you're still so tight-lipped? We all recognized Sage's voice, but seriously, this whole thing is Ethan's big mouth's fault, causing Chloe to get hurt for nothing. Luckily, the baby in her belly is as resilient as she is. Chloe quickly defended herself. Where did you hear I was pregnant? Rumors spread like wildfire, but refuting them is exhausting. Do you really think I'd survive Grace to successfully clear my name after what she did? She wouldn't dare. Marcus's roar vibrated through my cell phone, making my eardrums ache. After a moment of silence, someone, I don't know who, tried to smooth things over. That shrew of yours looks fierce but is actually incredibly foolish. How dare she try to compete with Marcus in ruthlessness? Just that one blow from Marcus probably earned her several stitches. I had just finished screen recording the voice note when that particular one, seemingly sent by accidental touch, was retracted. No one knew I was in this group chat, but their caution only made them seem more guilty. The next second, Chloe tagged me in the main group chat. Grace, is your wound serious? Did you go to the hospital to get it treated? I gave Marcus a good beating for you, and he knows he was wrong. He's going home tonight to perform a humiliating act of penance with blue cheese. So don't be angry with him, okay? Sticking 10 out, cute, attached was a photo of a freshly bought blue cheese. She then tagged Marcus, quickly apologized to Grace. Otherwise, we're done. Marcus sent a helpless emoji before quoting Chloe's message. Grace, are you all right? It's all my fault for being careless. I didn't reply and contacted my best friend, who works in the OBGYN department. Grace, I'm on annual leave. You'll have to wait until I'm back to help you look into it. Just 5 days. I could wait, and it would give me time to thoroughly investigate Chloe's sister as well. Marcus didn't come home until midnight. Drunk, he carried the blue cheese I loathed and mumbled to me from beside the bed. Grace, I brought you some blue cheese. Smell it. Isn't it fragrant? Suppressing my nausea, I slapped him awake. Get out. Marcus saw me pinching my nose and frowning, and only then did he remember that the smell of blue cheese made me nauseous. He scrambled out the door, still clutching the blue cheese. The next morning, the smell in the house finally dissipated completely. He made a table full of steaming breakfast and called me to get up and eat. Grace, Chloe said everywhere would be crowded during the national holiday, and she rarely gets time off, so she doesn't want to deal with crowds. I've cancelled the tickets and hotel. He mentioned Chloe so naturally, as if nothing from yesterday had ever happened. Oh, suit yourself. It's true that during early pregnancy, it's not suitable to go out into crowds. It's easy to lose the baby. She was the one clamoring to travel with us before. Now, she's the one making excuses about crowds not to go. The reason, of course, was obvious, but who had just been all smiles and pleasantries, abruptly smashed the dishes. Grace, you are truly unreasonable. I'll come home when you realize you're wrong. He grabbed his car keys and stormed out. For the next few days, Marcus truly didn't come home. From that small group chat, I already knew he was staying at Chloe's place. The two of them were inseparable, constantly together like a married couple. His friends couldn't resist teasing him. Marcus, you two are so brazen. Aren't you afraid Grace, that shrew, will ruin you? Afraid of what? Since she doesn't trust me, I might as well make it real and get Chloe pregnant to spite her. She's forcing my hand, since she's unwilling to have my children. Don't blame me for finding someone else to carry on the family name. Everyone praised him for being strong and knowing how to control his wife, but I felt a chill run through me as I looked at the information my best friend had helped me find. Chloe was indeed pregnant. They staged this whole thing just to pin all the blame on me. I had to admire their acting skills and endurance. They completely fooled all their other friends. It was obvious Marcus had known about Chloe's pregnancy all along. That's why he was so eager to protect her, smashing the cake, forcing me to apologize, hurting me, driving me away. What was even more interesting was that Chloe and her sister had a complete falling out. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. After arranging to meet Sage, I dialed Marcus's number. The phone rang for a long time before it was answered. The background was noisy, filled with Chloe's lively laughter and other people's jeers. Hello? Calmed down enough? Realized your mistake? I'm at Chloe's house. If you want to admit your mistake, come over and pick me up. Marcus's condescending voice was full of impatience. All right. He froze for a second, then chuckled smugly. Then get a suitable apology gift for Chloe ready. Don't show up empty-handed. He hung up impatiently and boasted in the small group chat, "It's starting. Grace is coming to humbly apologize and beg me to come home. Everyone, hurry over and watch. No backing out on the bets we made." The group chat immediately exploded with excitement. Everyone wanted to see how I would humbly apologize. Someone also asked Marcus, "Marcus, you've been at it day and night. Have you successfully planted your seed yet? I can't wait to see your shrew of a wife in a month," crying her eyes out when she realizes she practically put you in Chloe's bed herself. Those who love drama really don't care how big the mess gets. Since everyone was so enthusiastic, there was no reason for me not to oblige. Even, usually so reserved, ignored red lights and floored the accelerator all the way there. When I arrived at Chloe's house, everyone looked at me mockingly. "Grace, I heard you're here to humbly apologize." Wrong. I'm not the one who should be humbly apologizing. I threw a stack of evidence in front of Marcus and sneered, "Remember what I said on my birthday?" Marcus glanced at the top document, and his face instantly turned ashen. But he still chose to play dumb. "How could I remember all that? I told you to bring a substantial gift to apologize to Chloe, and this is what you brought?" I pulled the tactical baton from my pocket and pushed Sage, who was holding a dagger behind me, in front of Marcus. "Don't worry. You'll remember soon enough. Here's the substantial gift you asked for." The tactical baton struck Marcus with lightning speed. At the same moment, Sage stabbed Chloe in the lower abdomen with her knife. Their ear-splitting screams, not human-like, echoed through the living room. Marcus hadn't expected me to go crazy, much less Sage to join me. His pupils trembled, and he instinctively shielded the bleeding Chloe behind him, roaring at me, "Grace, are you insane?" "Yes, you drove me insane. I told you, if you had a bastard child outside, I'd personally ruin you." Marcus was teary-eyed from the pain and then looked at Sage, who was glaring fiercely nearby. "My wife is losing her mind. Why are you getting involved? Chloe is your own sister. Why would you try to kill her?" Sage lifted Marcus's white shirt and wiped away the blood, her movements mirroring mine. "Your wife hitting you is a family matter, and my disciplining my sister is also a family matter. She hired someone to get rid of my baby, so don't blame me for not being merciful." Marcus froze, saying in disbelief, "What do you mean she got rid of your baby? You were pregnant too?" "Yes. That night I called you. I originally wanted to discuss the baby with you. My shameful entanglement with you was just me wanting to conceive after you took advantage of me and seeing your good genes. But I never imagined you were already cheating with my sister. And I certainly never thought my own sister, whom I doted on since childhood, would hire someone to assault me, causing a miscarriage and making me unable to be a mother ever again." Chloe's face was ashen, and she was in too much pain to stand steady. Yet she still had the strength to shriek at Sage, "You knew I liked Marcus. Why did you have to use him to conceive? Wasn't the sperm bank enough for you to choose from? You stole my beloved and destroyed his family. Shouldn't I be allowed to hit you to vent my anger? Not being able to be a mother is heaven's punishment for your depravity." Sage's dagger plunged in again. Who is really destroying his family, and who orchestrated it so that when he was drugged and delirious, he was led to my room? If it weren't for you, would I have gotten pregnant with his child? The scene was utter chaos. Marcus forcefully pushed Sage away and cradled Chloe, who was in too much pain to speak, trying to comfort her. "Chloe, hang in there. You'll be all right." After I struck Marcus's cell phone, which he was using to dial 911, to the ground with another blow of the baton, Chloe, who had just been glaring at me with venom, was now crying hysterically out of fear. Unfortunately, her tears worked on Marcus, but not on me. Only when blood stained between her legs did I show some mercy and call an ambulance for her. Chloe was crying tears of pain. Her once lively face was now terrifyingly pale. Her eyes, fixed on me, were filled with fear and resentment. "Marcus, it's Grace. It's that wretched woman who's pulling the strings, getting others to do her dirty work. My sister doted on me since childhood. Even if I wanted her life, she wouldn't hurt me. But now, because of Grace's instigation, she's trying to kill me." "Sage, I didn't know you were pregnant. I can explain what happened that night. But don't turn against me for an outsider. It's okay if you can't be a mother. What's the difference between the baby in my belly and your own? Sage, quick, call for help for me and the baby." "I don't want to die." Chloe was clever, attempting to play on her sister's emotions to get her on her side. Unfortunately, when I found the surveillance footage from the night Sage lost her virginity, she completely gave up on her sister. Because had her period and didn't want to be Marcus's outlet. She manipulated her own sister, who wanted to remain single her entire life. Afterward, Marcus falsely claimed he wanted to take responsibility for Sage and relentlessly harassed her, but was unmoved until she discovered she was pregnant. Only then did she make that call. And that day, when taking the pregnancy test, Chloe pretended to stumble because I pulled her, and Marcus, in a silent agreement, used the excuse of studying her to spill the beer from the glass onto her. That's why he allowed Chloe to take the test and was so certain the result would disappoint me. They played their schemes right in front of me, having Chloe use beer as urine for the test, never imagining that I would notice Chloe's untouched glass was empty. All right, stop wailing. Wasn't this the substantial gift you begged me to deliver? It's too late to ask me to stop now. The next second, the tactical baton landed on Marcus's crotch. Sage also didn't hesitate to add several kicks, completely abandoning her aloof goddess demeanor. Marcus let out a pig-like shriek of agony, cold sweat pouring down his forehead from the pain. It all happened too suddenly. No one expected me to bring Sage along in my rampage. After his friends shielded him, Marcus gasped out roughly, questioning me, "Grace, what the hell is wrong with you? If you ruin me like this, do you not want any happiness for the rest of your life? You didn't want children, and I agreed to a child-free lifestyle with you, but now I want an heir, and Chloe is willing to endure the pain of childbirth for you. What more could you want? I'm telling you, if anything happens to Chloe and the baby, I'm not done with you." I directly tossed out the signed divorce agreement. "Sign it. We're completely over." Effective immediately. Everyone was shocked by my brutal methods, and seeing me produce the divorce agreement, they finally snapped back to reality. Knowing things had escalated, they all tried to mediate. "Grace, you've hit him. You've vented your anger. Why are you still pushing for a divorce? And is so badly hurt by you too. If she's not taken to the hospital soon, someone will actually die. Why sacrifice the rest of your lives?" Chloe, being defended, was in too much pain to even breathe, yet her eyes glowed as she stared at the divorce agreement. I pointed to the blood beneath her and sneered. "Marcus is sowing his wild oats everywhere and betraying me. Why wouldn't I divorce a man like that? Keep him around for the holidays? Or are you all so generous that you'd let your own wives have children with other men?" Sage, even more mercilessly, exposed Chloe's acting. She's a nurse herself. Ask her if that injury, besides costing her the baby, is life-threatening. Everyone realized. Speechless and silent, those who had just been mediating for Marcus now had a myriad of expressions on their faces. Ethan, as the fuse for the entire incident, had been most zealous in covering for Marcus during this time. His bet that I would lose was also the biggest. He was the first to openly question Marcus. "Marcus, you're so blatant. Aren't you afraid Grace, that shrew, will ruin you? Yet you treat us like fools, keeping us in the dark, and even started a $1 million betting game. Certain you'd win? What do you take us brothers for? What else? Pawns, ATM machines. That's what." These people were not innocent, so don't blame me for mercilessly twisting the knife. Marcus glared at me fiercely. "Shut up." "What? If I shut up, it'll cover up the fact that you cheated?" Marcus's face was ashen, his lips trembling, and after a long moment, he uttered a few words. "I didn't. Don't listen to their nonsense. Chloe and I were just a one-time drunken accident," with the evidence thrown in his face. He still wouldn't admit it? I slowly took out my cell phone and played the screen recording from that small group chat. His conversation with Chloe, his friends' jeers, his own words about making my slander a reality and getting Chloe pregnant, every single word was like a slap across his face. "Marcus, you're a serial cheater, and you still have the nerve to think I'm unreasonable? Do you still think I'm going insane? Do you remember what we said when we got married? I said that if one day he fell in love with someone else, he could tell me openly, and we would part ways amicably. If he made a mistake due to work or unavoidable social obligations, I could give him one chance to turn over a new leaf, but I would absolutely not tolerate him getting someone else pregnant. If he truly did something to betray me, he'd better clean up his mess properly and not let it offend my sight, because once things reached me, I wouldn't let it go." Back then, he held my hand and swore to the heavens, "Grace, I would never do anything to betray you in this life. If I ever do, may I be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Furthermore, I don't want children because children would take away your love for me." He was the one who proposed a child-free lifestyle. He was also the one who blamed me for not having children. Marcus suddenly looked up, his gaze complex as he stared at me. showing panic and shame, but mostly resentment at being exposed publicly. Clearly, he also recalled the scene of his old oath to the heavens. Sign the divorce papers. I'll grant you your wish. Chloe handed him a pen and said coldly, if you don't want me to sue you for rape, then sign it. This is what you and I owe Grace. As for getting rid of the bastard child in Chloe's belly, don't blame Grace. That's a private matter between Chloe and me. In truth, Marcus knew that even if Sage hadn't acted, I wouldn't have tolerated the child in Chloe's womb either. I would absolutely not allow a bastard child to be the product of my marriage. Marcus hesitated for a long time, so long that he no longer heard Chloe's sobs, until cried out in pain again, Marcus, it hurts so much. Am I going to die? Quick, quick, save our baby. Her voice was barely a whisper as she desperately clutched Marcus's arm. Marcus seemed to find an outlet and an excuse. He swept Chloe into his arms and, pushing past everyone, rushed towards the door. As he passed me, he paused for a second, his eyes dark and menacing. Grace, if anything happens to Chloe and the baby, I swear I won't let you off. I brushed off imaginary dust from my shoulder, my tone contemptuous. Don't worry, she won't die. As for that bastard child, it should never have existed. Marcus carried Chloe into the ambulance. He left behind a room full of so-called friends, all with varying expressions, exchanging awkward glances, utterly mortified. Ethan opened his mouth, wanting to say something to me. I raised a hand to stop him. No need to apologize. It's pointless. Just open your eyes wider in the future, and don't let people play you for a fool while you count their money for them. I didn't give them another look. Turning to leave, behind me, a deathly silence descended. The next few days were calm and uneventful. Marcus didn't contact me again, presumably busy tending to his darling in the hospital. I was glad for the peace and began to compile evidence, consult with lawyers, and prepare for divorce proceedings. However, Chloe had no intention of letting things go. That afternoon, on my way to the law, as I drove down a long slope, the brakes suddenly failed without any warning. The car gained speed, and the needle on the dashboard jumped wildly. Cold sweat instantly soaked my back as I desperately tried to keep the steering wheel steady. The car swerved precariously into the median strip and, under immense resistance, finally came to a halt. The searing pain in my chest told me my ribs were definitely broken. A gush of warmth flooded between my legs. I was stunned. Was this heaven's retribution for getting rid of Chloe's baby? I was stuck in my seat, unable to get out. The instinct to survive made me dial for help, but my hand was shaking, and I called Marcus instead. A familiar ringtone sounded nearby. I turned my head and saw Marcus and Chloe. He heartlessly hung up the phone and, smiling, asked Chloe in the passenger seat, "What do you want to eat tonight?" "I'll do the cooking." A sudden, gut-wrenching pain shot through my abdomen, and I completely passed out. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. The doctor regretfully informed me that I had lost the baby. I nodded numbly, regardless of whether there was this accident or not. Once I decided to divorce, there was no way I would keep this child. Only my heart felt filled with absurdity. I didn't believe the brakes on a recently serviced car would fail. I decided to call the police. After inspection, it was confirmed that the brake line had been deliberately cut, with a clean incision. This wasn't an accident. It was attempted murder. The police immediately opened a case for investigation. Finally, just as I expected, the trail led to Chloe. She had bribed a homeless man to tamper with my car in the residential complex. She was so eager to kill me because she didn't want Marcus to leave the marriage with nothing. She wanted not only to steal my man but also to seize my marital assets. People who want to have their cake and eat it too rarely end up well. The police summoned Chloe. Faced with eyewitness testimonies and irrefutable surveillance evidence, she initially denied everything, but under intense psychological pressure and the weight of the evidence, she finally broke down and confessed. Her reason was, she caused me to lose my baby. Why should she get away with attempted murder without paying a price? Why? Facing her accusation, I shrugged. What evidence do you have to prove I hit you? She called all the friends who had been present that day, but not a single one was willing to testify for her, but adamantly insisted that I had indeed hit her. Seeing him lie without a blush or a racing heart, the last shred of affection I had for him completely vanished. They truly were cowards, always picking on the weaker target. Since they both had leverage against Sage, they dared not confront her. But I wasn't the pushover they imagined. I provided the police with a hospital diagnostic report, leaving both him and Chloe completely dumbfounded. Apparently, Chloe's pregnancy had shown signs of miscarriage from the very beginning. Even if they tried to forcibly sustain the pregnancy, doctors couldn't guarantee it would be saved. More precisely, Chloe had long known that the baby couldn't be saved, which was why she deliberately provoked me at my birthday party. She thought she could use a baby to break up Marcus and me, so she could smoothly take my place. It turned out she was right. A tainted man was indeed someone I no longer wanted. Marcus didn't want to leave with nothing. And even more, he didn't want Chloe to go to prison. He offered a villa, attempting to bribe Sage into committing perjury. Sage feigned agreement but then turned around and submitted the recording of him bribing her to the police, along with the video of him assaulting her, and the evidence that Chloe had hired someone to beat her. She produced it all. Marcus was so furious he cursed at Sage, but he couldn't stir a single emotion in her. After police verification, it was confirmed that Chloe had deliberately damaged my brake system, which was sufficient to constitute attempted murder. To prevent Sage from pursuing charges that would worsen her sentence, Chloe could only swallow the truth about Sage stabbing her, tears in her eyes. As the police were about to take her away, Marcus suddenly knelt before me. "Grace, could you please drop the charges? For Chloe's sake. Since she just lost her baby, I can compensate you." "Compensation? What compensation could you possibly offer? Aren't you just jealous she was pregnant with my child? I'll give you a child, and you can sign a settlement agreement. You're perfectly fine now anyway, so just consider it a good deed for our child's future." I simply couldn't believe my ears. "Marcus, do you know that when I had the car accident, you drove past my car with Chloe, but you didn't answer my phone?" He froze for a moment, then quickly cut me off. "I didn't know you were in an accident then. If I had, I certainly wouldn't have left you for dead." Suddenly, I lost all strength to speak. I just threw the DC procedure report in his face. When he realized I'd lost my child because of that car accident, he was left speechless, as if he'd had the wind knocked out of him. It was a long moment before he spoke, his voice hoarse. "I shouldn't have cheated, but Chloe was pregnant, and I couldn't just shirk my responsibility. Now both of you have lost children, so can't we just call it even? Why do you have to be so ruthless? Has it never occurred to you that losing our child is retribution for your own wrongdoing?" By the end, he was practically gnashing his teeth. In that moment, I hated myself for being so blind. His sense of right and wrong, and his heart, had long since veered wildly off course. "Marcus, you will pay for that remark. Chloe is definitely going to jail for this. Oh, and a friendly reminder, you should really investigate why Chloe suffered a threatened miscarriage so soon after getting pregnant with your child." Marcus clearly didn't heed my final warning, but I didn't care. I no longer paid attention to his impotent rage or Chloe's tearful pleas, and I firmly demanded an appeal. I also filed for divorce. Seeing that I was serious, Marcus started contacting me relentlessly. He bombarded me with phone calls, text messages, and WhatsApp. From initially accusing me of being heartless with furious anger, to desperately begging me to drop the lawsuit, and then to offering incentives, claiming he would walk away with nothing if only I would let Chloe go. It was clear he truly loved Chloe. He was willing to do anything for her. I ignored all his pleas. Desperate, he even sought out my parents and friends, attempting to pressure me through them, but no one was willing to help him. As case approached its trial date, Marcus completely panicked. He waited at my doorstep. After half a month apart, he looked significantly gaunt, his eyes sunken, his face unshaven, completely devoid of his former vibrancy. "Grace, let's talk." His voice was hoarse, tinged with a hint of pleading. "There's nothing for me to talk about with you. Just 5 minutes, please," he said, reaching out to stop me from closing the door, his tone almost pathetic. "I know I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I was deluded. I wronged you." He wept bitterly, recounting every detail of our years of dating and marriage, trying to move me with memories. "Grace, please, give me another chance, okay? I promise I'll cut all ties with her completely and only be good to you from now on. Can we start over?" Looking at this man, a masterful performer before me, I found it utterly ironic. "Marcus, your tears and repentance are so cheap. Is it only because Chloe is truly facing jail time that you suddenly remember to beg me? Or have you realized that her so-called loving only you was nothing but a string of lies? If I had truly died in that accident, would you be celebrating with her right now?" Marcus's face instantly turned ashen. "No, Grace. Save it." I cut him off coldly. "Your promises are worthless. It seemed he already knew that Chloe became a head nurse at such a young age by selling herself. She abused her position to procure numerous abortions. When she realized the director's wife was investigating her, she went to extreme lengths to seduce Marcus to keep her job. Unfortunately, having had too many abortions, she showed signs of threatened miscarriage as soon as she became pregnant with Marcus's child. Marcus stood frozen, afraid to look at me. Yet, he still mustered the courage to try and move me with what he believed were loving eyes. However, meeting my cold, resolute gaze, he finally understood there was no turning back. The last flicker of light in his eyes died, leaving only despair and defeat. Ultimately, Marcus was forced to walk away with nothing. Yet, he claimed this was the only way he could compensate me without making me despise him further. The regret, reluctance, and helplessness in his eyes gave me a sudden realization. How could people who once loved each other so deeply end up like this? I shook my head and walked out of the civil office. Why dwell on things I couldn't understand? In any case, leaving a man whose heart had changed would only make me better. Marcus suddenly stepped forward and grabbed me. Can we have one last meal together? I'll cook. This was the first time in 3 years of marriage that he had offered to cook. But I no longer cared. Rejected. Marcus wasn't surprised. He shouted at my retreating back, Grace, you're so heartless. Not a fraction as heartless as you. I got into the car and drove away without looking back. On the day Chloe's case was sentenced, Marcus also attended the court. Chloe tearfully pleaded with Marcus to wait for her for 5 years. But his gaze remained fixed on me, just like he used to, when he relentlessly pursued me with such sincerity. But it could no longer make my heart skip a beat. With everything settled, he and I had parted ways for good. I left Coastal City and moved to Evergreen, a city where spring felt eternal, to start a new life. Sage also moved abroad. Later, I heard from mutual friends that Marcus would occasionally ask about my current situation. I smiled and told them not to bother responding to him. Now, he was nothing more than a stranger to me. Although I occasionally recalled that absurd and ugly past, my heart was no longer stirred. Some people are simply destined to be trials in life. Once you overcome them, it's a rebirth. The sky is vast, and the future is bright. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any thoughts about this story, feel free to share them in the comments section. Here is Roses and Love, sharing stories about marriage and women every day. See you tomorrow.